African jungle, there was a whispered legend of a market, one almost forgotten by time. This market was unlike any other. It opened only one night a year, under the darkest phase of the moon, and could only be seen by a select few. This market was a place where lost objects, memories, and even destinies were traded in secret. Nkulu, a young man, had heard of this market, but he always thought it was just a myth. That was until one day when an ancient family heirloom, passed down from his father, mysteriously disappeared. Nkulu searched everywhere for the heirloom, growing increasingly desperate. The item wasn't just an object, it was a piece of his family's legacy, something that tied him to his ancestors. The more he searched, the more he heard whispers of the black market, a place where the lost could be found but at a cost. He thought back to the stories his father had told him, of strange figures who would appear only to those with something valuable to lose. At first, he dismissed the idea as superstition, but now, with no other options, Nkulu realized he had to seek out this mysterious place. As night fell, Nkulu ventured deep into the jungle, far beyond where anyone dared to go. He walked for hours, the dense forest closing in around him. The air became thick and heavy, and with every step, he could feel the weight of his decision. Would he really find the market? Or was he chasing a myth? Just as he began to doubt, the jungle opened up into a clearing. The air grew cold, and a thick mist rolled in from nowhere, swirling around him. At the stroke of midnight, the black market appeared before his eyes, shrouded in mist, with dim lanterns flickering beneath a massive tent. Stalls lined with lost items. Old watches, worn-out clothes, broken dolls, and shattered mirrors. Yet each item seemed to hum with an eerie energy as if they were alive. The vendors wore masks, their faces hidden in shadow, and no one spoke. Everything moved in eerie silence. The most peculiar part? In this market, you didn't just buy back what you'd lost. You had to offer something in return, something intangible. A memory, a piece of your fate. As Nkulu wandered through the market, he felt a chill run down his spine. Each stall seemed to call out to him in a whisper, offering him forgotten treasures from people's pasts. But it was the stall at the far end that drew him in. The vendor there was different. Older, with a mask more elaborate than the others, adorned with intricate carvings of faces, as if they were staring into Nkulu's soul. On the table before the vendor, there lay Nkulu's lost heirloom, a small, carved pendant that had been in his family for generations. Nkulu's heart skipped a beat. He reached for it, but the vendor raised a hand. "Nothing comes without a price," the vendor said, his voice low and rasping. "You can take it back, but you must give something in return." Nkulu hesitated. "What do you want?" he asked. The vendor leaned closer. "A memory," he said. "Not just any memory, but one that defines who you are. One that, once given, can never be regained. It will leave a hole in your soul, but it will also bring you back what was lost." Nkulu was torn. To erase a memory, especially one so important, could change the course of his life. But without the heirloom, his family's history would be incomplete. As he stood there, the mist thickened, and the market seemed to shift around him. Time felt like it was slipping away. Suddenly, from the back of the market, a thin stream of smoke began to rise. It wasn't like the mist, it seemed alive, moving with a purpose. The smoke weaved its way through the stalls, pulling Nkulu's gaze toward a dark tent at the edge of the market. The tent was older, more tattered than the others, and outside, a single lantern flickered weakly. Strange whispers echoed from inside, pulling him closer. Nkulu felt compelled to approach. The figure inside the tent was unlike the other vendors. This one wore no mask, his face fully visible. His eyes locked onto Nkulu with an intensity that made his skin crawl. The figure motioned for him to enter, and as Nkulu stepped inside, the whispers grew louder. The air inside the tent was thick, almost suffocating, and Nkulu could sense something powerful lurking within. "You seek to reclaim what is lost," the figure said, his voice deep and resonant. "But there is always a greater price. The market takes more than it gives." Nkulu felt his chest tighten. "What do you want from me?" he asked. The figure smiled, revealing a row of sharp, gleaming teeth. "You will find out soon enough," he said cryptically. Back at the stall with the heirloom, Nkulu found himself standing before the vendor once again. The mist swirled around him, and the whispers seemed to grow louder in his mind. He could feel the weight of the decision pressing down on him. If he took the heirloom back, what would he lose in return? Would he be the same person? Or would he be forever changed? As Nkulu reached out for the pendant, the vendor's hand shot out, grabbing his wrist. "Choose wisely," the vendor warned. "What you give will shape your future." Nkulu took a deep breath and made his choice. As his fingers closed around the pendant, the market seemed to shudder. The mist swirled violently, and the stalls flickered in and out of view. In an instant, the market began to fade, disappearing back into the jungle as if it had never been there. Nkulu stood alone in the clearing, the pendant in his hand. But something was missing. A part of his memory, something vital, was gone, leaving a hollow feeling inside him. He looked down at the pendant, knowing that the price he had paid was far greater than he had expected. And as he walked back into the jungle, he couldn't shake the feeling that the market hadn't just taken a memory. It had taken a part of him that he would never get back.